If you're a small company competing with bigger brands, here's the unfair advantage most founders ignore: AI-powered listening. Instead of guessing, you let AI scan what their customers complain about across reviews, forums, and app stores at scale. Most founders trust instinct. AI trusts evidence. It reads thousands of customer voices in minutes. And those customers? They've already written the roadmap, hidden inside complaints nobody has time to analyze properly. When you start a business, you think about what you can build: your skills, your experience, your ideas. Useful, but incomplete without AI.
Successful businesses aren't built on founder confidence. They're built on customer clarity. Most founders don't ignore customers. They assume they understand them. And that assumption is where most ideas quietly die. So instead of asking, "What can I build?" ask a better question. Where is the customer still struggling? That gap between what exists and what's actually needed is where viable businesses are born.
To explain this clearly, I'll use a simple example: a toy rental business in India. At first glance, this market looks crowded. There are subscriptions, there are big players, there are toys everywhere. Most founders would stop here and say, "Too competitive, hard to win." That conclusion usually comes from assumptions, not from understanding the customer landscape. So instead of studying competitors, we'll study customer frustration. Perplexity is good at scanning real customer conversations, not polished marketing pages. I used it because it has access to live, recent data from the last 12 months. And recency matters. Old insights lie. I asked Perplexity to search Reddit, Trustpilot, Google reviews, and industry forums for major toy rental companies. Then I gave it very specific instructions. Identify the top recurring complaints. Focus on phrases like, "I wish it had," and format everything into a clean table: complaint, frequency, and the unmet need behind it. This prompt forces honesty: no opinions, no guessing, just patterns. And here's the interesting part. Customers weren't complaining about toy quality. They weren't complaining about price. They were complaining about unpredictable delivery, hidden inventory, rigid subscriptions, and broken or incomplete toys. In other words, the product wasn't broken. The experience was. This is the gold mine, because when the same complaints show up across competitors, that's not noise, that's a market gap. But I didn't stop there. I took this entire output and moved it into Notebook LM. Why Notebook LM? Because raw insights are useless unless they're synthesized. Notebook LM helps ingest large chunks of research and turn them into something structured, digestible, and actionable. I pasted the Perplexity output into Notebook LM and asked it to generate patterns, summaries, and even visual artifacts like slide decks and infographics. Now things got interesting. Notebook LM didn't just summarize the data. It surfaced patterns. It showed that all complaints pointed to the same underlying problem: lack of control, lack of trust, and lack of predictability. Parents weren't asking for more toys. They were asking for peace of mind. Notebook LM then turned this into a clear problem narrative, a list of unmet needs, and concrete solution directions. Not abstract theory, but practical moves a smaller company could actually execute. At this point, this stopped being competitive analysis. It became market positioning. This is how you avoid building something that fades away. When you enter a market based on assumptions, ideas slowly die. When you enter based on real customer gaps, businesses compound. Competitive analysis isn't about copying competitors. It's about understanding what customers still struggle with and why. Your customers are already telling you what to build. Your job is to listen properly. If you found this useful, subscribe for more practical AI-first ways to think about business. I'll see you in the next video.